Welcome back. This is Wealth Principle number 9. We have been traveling through the Wealth Principles for the last 9 weeks. Now, we did it all last year. By the way, if you were part of last year, give yourselves a round of applause. It was definitely a huge accomplishment to go through the 52 weeks. I can see Ryan McDermott nodding, Mike Shine nodding. These people who are with you now don't know what you've already been through. Most of this room, in fact, has not experienced half of the 52 weeks. So let's give the new members a round of applause as well. It's exciting having gone through this entire process and still gaining from it. Hands to the camera if you're still gaining from it, even though you took some of these last year. Excellent. Excellent. The 52 Weeks of Wealth is a renewable program. It is designed to keep growing. It is designed to grow as your business grows. It's designed to take you to the next level. These are millionaire wealth principles. These are not just make a few bucks principles. This is not just get by principles. This is going to make you rich. Hands to the camera if you're willing to become rich, willing to become a millionaire. Excellent. Excellent. This is why we get along. You see, the difference between wanting to become a millionaire and becoming a millionaire is a commitment to becoming a millionaire. When I started, I was sick and tired of being broke. Who's heard me say it? Who knows? I was sick and tired of being broke. When I wrote broke to $250,000, I was only a millionaire. I was only a millionaire when I wrote broke to $250,000. When I wrote get the deal, I was a multimillionaire. And it only took 2 more years. It took 5 years to finally become financially free, to become a millionaire. It was 5 years. But when I started, I was so willing to do whatever it takes, whether it took me 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, because I didn't care anymore. Like I said, I was sick and tired of not being able to afford things, not be able to do the things that a man should do for his family. Provide, be there, be supportive. I was too stressed out over money, too stressed out over things I couldn't control. I use air quotes. But I found financial freedom because I started buying real estate. I bought one house, then another house, then another house, and then another. And I kept buying houses. And before you know it, I was a millionaire. I was financially free at 30 years old. I was a millionaire by 32 and a multimillionaire by 34. Hands to the camera if you know you can do that. It's not a complex process to just keep buying real estate. Wealth Principle 9 is track, focus, and track your net worth. Track and focus on your net worth. Write it down. Track and focus on your net worth, or write it down in a more empowering way. I track and focus my net worth. I track and focus my net worth. Now, I've got to talk. I got to tell a story because I thought it was very clear that net worth was important. Hands to the camera if I've made it clear that net worth is important, that tracking it is a key. It's interesting because I see a lot of hands. Hands to the camera if you actually track your net worth weekly, the way I suggest. Right? Notice half the hands went down. By the way, let's give the people who have both hands down, both hands up. Let's give you a round of applause. Either way, I appreciate you being honest. I think honesty is the key to development. It's the key to growth and getting yourself to the next level. But I've been talking about it for a long time. I've been saying, do your net worth tracker. Do your net worth tracker, especially if you're in the mentorship. Hands to the camera if you went through the mentorship program. Yeah. And you heard Ryan McDermott. Ryan was like, yeah, you should really do your net worth tracker. He says it just like that. Ryan, how do you suggest people do their net worth tracker when I pull you on stage?
I love it. I love being on stage, especially this stage. The net worth tracker, I love doing it every week. I am a financial planner by trade, and I probably looked at it maybe, twice a year, once a year. That's for normal people. For this community that's focused on increasing the net worth, you really have to look at it every week because it's a really simple and easy measuring stick to show where your progress has been. I think the easiest way to do it is to if you could find a tool like a mint.com that sort of aggregates all of your data together. There's a bunch of them out there that exist. Find one of those to kind of make it easier, but do the job and take the number and put it on the spreadsheet or write it down because the activity is going to really be, it's really going to make you mindful of it. So, yeah.
Let's give Ryan McDermott a round of applause. The net worth tracker is a key that financial advisors use to dictate whether somebody is ready or capable of getting into a different bracket, a different product, a different resource, whether they need certain tax benefits or whether they don't, or which products would be better for them. If it's good enough for a financial analyst, it is good enough for you. Does that make sense? Hence the camera, if that makes sense. This is your life, right? This is your life. Who here would like to retire in the next 3 to 5 years? Who would like to retire in the next 3 to 5 years? If you're interested in retiring, you must have net worth. You must have an asset that pays for your life. An asset that pays for your life. Hence the camera, if you would like something else to pay for your lifestyle. Yes, let me tell you a story. When I was a child, let's say around 13 years old, I was a child, and at 13 years old, I discovered what I love to do. I found my purpose in life, or what I thought was at the time. I was going to be the greatest Final Fantasy VII player of all times. I was going to play video games for the rest of my life and just enjoy it. And as I got a little bit older, that seemed like it was a viable solution to all of my life's woes. You know, my problems were occasionally my parents made me go to bed earlier than I would like, and occasionally they woke me up earlier than I would like. It was a crazy cycle of my only problem was when I had to sleep. Hence the camp, if you remember those days. Remember that? Because the food was taken care of. The shelter was there. I mean, you didn't have a lot of options, but you had that one place that you could definitely call your bedroom. And then you had access to the living room, the bathroom, the kitchen. You had all these different spaces and the outdoors, many of you. And around 14, something changed. Something very dramatic changed in my life. My dad came in to my bedroom one day and said, "Son, I've got an opportunity for you." And I looked at him and I was like, "Cool, Dad, what's up?" And he said, "I think it's time for you to get a job so you can learn some responsibility." And I looked at my dad and I was like, "I guess, like, what am I going to be doing?" And he said, "I don't know, but that's up to you to figure out. And we're going to start charging rent." And I was like, "Oh, well, damn." But my dad's smart. He explained it to me before. Like, he explained why rent made sense and why it's important to learn it at a young age. And so I was like, I guess in his mind, he thinks this is a favor for me. But in my mind, hence the camera, if you know what my mind was thinking. Fuck! This is not how I want to spend, 8 hours of my day or 4 hours of my day. And so my mom was able to find a job for me at a flooring company. I was working in the flooring company, working in the showroom. Then I eventually started working in the back warehouse, just loading trucks. But in the beginning, I was just putting stickers, pricing on tiles. Very boring job. Type the calculator in, put the pricing out, and I would make about $80 a week. $80 a week. Do you know what rent was? Rent was $100 a month. $100 a month. So I was losing nearly half of my cash to this rent thing, which I totally understood because my dad raised me with phrases like, "If it doesn't pay rent, get it out." And after this conversation, he used to chuckle with me. He'd say, "Well, if it doesn't pay rent, get it out." So I just follow my own philosophy. And my dad's a clever guy, right? So he said, "Look, nobody warned me when I became, 20, when I moved out. Like, nobody warned me about rent. Nobody warned me about these things. So I want you to be prepared. When rent comes, when you get to a certain point, you'll be able to handle it, no problem. When rent's higher," because he said about 2 years later, he said rent's going up to $200 a month. And I was like, "Dad, I don't, but I've been paying. What I do wrong?" And he's like, "Oh, son, this is how the world works. Rent goes up." He said, "Rent goes up every year. You got lucky this past year." So I just caught up with it. And rent was then $200. Hands to the camera if you know that's a great way to learn the lesson. You have to work. You have to work. Unless, just like my 13-year-old self, you find some other person or business or entity that is willing to work for you and pay all your bills so you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want. The secret from 13 to 14 is at 14, I lost my passive income. At 14, I lost my investment by becoming of age. Many of you have become of age and forgot how to get back to passive income. You simply have to find an entity that its existence generates money, like my father. He was an entity that generated money, who has enough desire, like, and trust in you to make sure that you get a piece, to make sure that you get a cut. Now, why would somebody do that? Well, your parents did it because they produced you. They felt obligated, right? They produced you. They felt obligated. How it works in business is you produce the business, the jobs, and other people feel obligated. You produce the opportunity and other people feel obligated to pay you. Does that make sense? And if you're lucky, just like when you were a child, this passive income business could last 7 to 13 years, 7 to 14 years. They don't last forever unless you change them and adjust them. There's no business on the planet that's lasted 14 years that didn't have to change. Hands to the camera if you can recognize that. Yes. If your business stays the same, it will die. Just like if you keep growing as a child, you will be cut off from the passive income stream, which is your parents. Hands to the camera if this is emotional. Is this bringing any emotional stuff up for you? Like, damn, why couldn't I just stay a kid? What is this rule? What is this principle? You have to track your net worth because your life starts with an emotional net worth, this responsibility net worth. I created them, and as soon as this responsibility point gets to I don't have to do it anymore, I'm gonna not do it anymore. Some parents, go a little further. Some parents want to pay for college. They want to take you through a lot of stuff. Some parents are like mine who are like, look, as long as you can work, you gonna work. So, the gauge may be a little bit longer for some and a little shorter for others. That's okay. At some point, it does run out. When you switch over, now you're building financial banking. It's financial value delivery. Instead of emotional delivery, like they felt a commitment to you, you now have to build a different form of commitment with your employees, with your partners, with your tenants, with the other people who are working with you. Hands to the camera if this is making sense. This is a cool way to relate this. Excellent. Sometimes while listening to Jim Rohn in the morning, I get great ideas. So the net worth tracker is key because with net worth, it allows you to invest in many different vehicles, some of which provide passive income, some of which will grow the capital. If you don't have a lot of capital, any financial advisor will tell you, you probably need to be in a higher risk situation. If you have a ton of capital, you want to be in a low risk situation, well diversified, very protected. We talked about put all your eggs in one basket. Who is here for the training, the wealth principle, put all your eggs in one basket and guard that basket? Low net worth, high risk. High net worth, low risk. Write this down. If you don't have $100,000 in your bank account right now, that money needs to be doing double time for you. If you don't have 100 grand sitting there, you have to be investing intelligently, aggressively. You have to be involved. You have to be scraping by. You have to, Charlie Munger said it. Who's read that quote, the actual quote by Charlie Munger? All right, I'll say it then. Okay, wow. By the way, look this one up. It's a blast. So he said, the first 100,000 is a bitch. The first 100,000 is a bitch. If you have to scrape by, if you have to eat ramen noodles, if you have to walk to work, if you have to work 2 jobs, 3 jobs, if you have to sweat hard, if you have to literally do whatever it takes, don't go on vacations, don't do anything until you've got the 100,000. And then once you've got the 100,000, invest it intelligently, very, very intelligently, put it to work, because that 100,000 is enough of a nest egg to start the thing rolling. Anything less than 100,000 is kind of a pain in the ass to grow. Ryan McDermott, you're a financial advisor. How easy is it to work with somebody who has $10,000 compared to somebody who has $100,000?
Infinitely easier at 100,000. I mean, honestly, most of the investment options and choices that we have on our platform, which is multiple, start well above the $10,000. There's minimums for some of these, and many of them are well over $10,000. So
let's give Ryan McDermott a round of applause. I love having you on these calls, brother. You're such a valuable resource. Really, you are. Hands to the camera if you know that first 100,000 is a bitch. If you haven't hit it yet, hands to the camera if you haven't hit it yet. Excellent, excellent. Hands to the camera if you've hit it and you know it was a fucking bitch. Like, it was a lot of work. It was a grind, you know? It was like a lot of things that you wanted to buy that didn't get bought. A lot of things, a lot of time went by. Yes, I know it's hard. I never said I'll retire in 3 to 5 years and it'll be easy as shit. I said it would be worth it. I said it would be worth it, right? In the beginning, if you haven't earned the right to invest $100,000, by the way, that's how I look at this, earning the right to invest $100,000, then you haven't earned the right to retire. You haven't earned the right for financial freedom, because it still takes some time after the 100,000. I've been asked from friends and people in the mentorship, when you have $100,000, or how long does it take to retire? How long can I to become a millionaire? I can very clearly graph out $100,000 to $1 million very clearly. Hands to the camera if you'd like to see what that looks like. All right, 100,000 year one, $250,000 year two, $500,000 year three, $1 million year four. See that? 4 years to $1 million if you got the 100,000. But that first 100,000 is a commitment. It is work. It can be a grind. And if you're not starting with 50, it's not going to be as easy. But here's what I have learned. If it took you 6 years, is it okay? If it took you 6 years, is it okay? Yeah. It gets easier as you go. It truly does get easier as you go. And once you hit the million, man, you move with speed. If you think life moves fast now, just wait until the options arrive around you when you have $1 million to play with, when you have 2 million, when you have 3 million, when your company is valuated at 10 million, the game speeds up significantly faster. If you know you want to get there. Excellent. There are 2 schools of thought on how to do it. There are 2 schools of thought on how to get your net worth to 100,000. One is, don't buy that Starbucks cup, right? Don't buy that cup of Joe. Don't buy that. You can deflate some air out of your tires. You can maybe not eat out. Maybe cook everything at home. Maybe go the ramen noodles route, right? Right. I see my fat fire friends saying, no. It doesn't work. You can't save your way to $100,000 unless you are already earning $100,000 a year and you just happen to be blowing that much, right? In which case, maybe you could save your way there, but it would still take you a long time. It would still take you a long time. The only way to get that first 100,000 is a combination. It's a focused strategy. It's increase income, save money, invest, and simplify your life. But if you spent all your time on increase income, you would increase your income. Ron and I were evaluating South Coast Capital this week, and we were saying, okay, like if we were wanting to pay out a dividend, but we'll talk more about it tomorrow, but if we want to pay out a dividend, what do we have to do? Right? Because we just want to keep growing the company. We don't want to pay out dividends. We don't want to take dividends. Really, we don't want to take payments. We just want to grow this thing to the point where taking payments actually makes sense, right? When you're at $100 million company, cool. What's 3%? It's still a lot, right? $100 million company, 3% is 3 freaking million. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot of millions coming out. But 3% at a $10 million company is only $300,000. It's not a lot of money. For some of you, you may look at that and say it's a lot of money, but when you get to $10 million valuation, you'll say it's not a lot of money. Hands to the camera if you recognize. That's right. And so we're looking at it and saying, what do we do? How do we increase some part of our business to generate more cash flow to send it out, to put it out there? Because we don't want to pay the 3%, right? We don't want to give that money out because it slows down the company. But if we add an additional leg to the company, and we were looking at, we came up with flips, by the way. Hands to the camera if you know a flip would help you in your life right now. Yeah. Watch Undercover Billionaire. They all do a flip, right? They all flip something. They flip something to get that capital up. So if you haven't flipped something in your life, no wonder you don't have the 100,000. Write that down too. It's important. These are important principles, right? If you haven't flipped something for like bought low, sold high, you haven't earned the 100,000 yet. You've got to get uncomfortable. And at our level, we have to flip bigger things, right? So if we wanted to go and throw 3% or 4% at the community, we'd have to go and do a $300,000 to $400,000 flip. That's what we look at. We don't look at doing 10 flips. We look at doing one big flip. We go and we purchase something for $3 million. We sell it for $3.5 million. Hands to the camera if you understand. That's how you make $500,000. Yeah. We don't have the patience to go and do 10 flips at $40,000 a flip. It just doesn't make sense for us in our skill set. But in the beginning, I couldn't think that way. Hands to the camera if you recognize you can't think that way, or choose not to think that way. Haven't worked the muscle yet. It's just not familiar yet. Excellent. To the people who haven't done your net worth yet, this is why we track it. Just imagine this. If you had $100,000 and you could put it into an investment that would bring you multiple different investments, a 3%, a 1%, a 5%, a 10%, a 12%, a 20%, or an asset that would double its value. Do the math. Which one makes more sense? Which return on investment makes more sense? The one that doubles its value or the one that pays you a monthly dividend? Hands to the camera if you think it's a dividend, even at 25%. Excellent. That's pretty sweet, right? Hands to the camera if you think it's the one that doubles each year. Yeah. Ron and I did the math. We make more money off of appreciation of our buildings by buying buildings at a 20% discount, forcing appreciation, getting the 40% equity in there than we have ever earned off of rents. We did the math. We did the research. We looked into it. And Mike Shine will say the same thing on his stock investments. Mike, which stock has made you the most money in your lifetime?
Tesla.
It would be Tesla. Let's give Mike a round of applause. They don't pay a dividend. And who here knows that I invest in REITs, real estate investment trusts? Knows I sold all my REITs because it just doesn't make sense. It's a slow growth program. Where I'm looking to go. The only thing that grows like that is the actual real estate asset. Actual real estate grows the way the REITs are supposed to when they get to REIT status. Oh, my battery's low. Hold on. Unplugged it last night to keep it alive. When a company gets to REIT status, they pay out everything in dividends, which is great. We want that. We want dividends being paid out. But until they get to a certain point, there's not enough capital. There's not enough machine, not enough property. Your life is like that. Unless you've got enough capital behind you, you can't live off of the $10,000. You can't live off of the $100,000. You've got to put those into investments that are going to build. Sometimes that investment is you. Sometimes that investment is real estate. Sometimes that investment is your business. But you've got to invest in that sure thing, that thing that you know is going to the moon. Quite literally, it seems to be a phrase that everybody's using lately with crypto and stocks. But quite literally, it has to be one thing. Diversification will kill you early on. You have to go focus. You have to build something worth building. If you don't know what that thing is, if you don't know what that business is, what that model is, what that investment is, if you're focused on business, you may want to come to the Mission of Millions event that Darina is hosting with me and Doug McGurk, because that will help us line you up with a business plan that will launch you, and we'll do the numbers. We'll do the millionaire math, make sure it makes $1 million. Because if it doesn't, I'm not going to waste any time on it. Hence the camp. If you know, I got no time for anything less than $1 million. That's right. We're building millionaires. We're on a mission to build 100 millionaires. And so if your business can't make $1 million, I'm not going to talk about it. Hands to the camera if you agree. You don't want to talk to me about anything less than $1 million business. My people, I love you. Thank you so much. I don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste mine. Let's just go to the top. Let's just go. Let's do businesses that make sense. Hell yeah. Excellent. And then if there's an asset that you know, like Mike, man, Mike has convinced me that Tesla was a great asset. You know how he convinced me? He held it all year long against all odds. It went down, it went up, it went down, and Mike was right. That's how he discovered that it was the right asset. But he researched, he studied. Mike had sent me more articles than I can count. Every single day, there was an article of Tesla. Every single day for an entire year, Mike told me and Mitch about Tesla. Me and Mitch did about this much with our Tesla. Mike went to the moon. In fact, Mike's now out in the stratosphere in his Tesla stocks, and he's just checking out on us and saying, hey, even though Tesla's down like 20% or 25%, I'm still up. He's still winning. Still winning, and Tesla will come back. The point is, and I know Mike, Mike's a financial, Ryan's a financial advisor. Can't comment on any of this, but go ahead, Ryan. What can you say?
Make one point. If you look at the market and even Tesla on Friday, it was down, but the market's been up over the last 100 years. So just wait around. You'll be fine.
That's it. Now, that doesn't mean go buy GME or AMC. I do not believe in those companies, and I strongly suggest that nobody invests in those companies. That comes from a fundamental place. That comes as an investor on fundamentals. Could you speculate and make money? Sure. You could also go to Vegas and have the same effect, except there'll be dancers and drinks, which I think is way more fun. So it's up to you and your lifestyle decisions with your money. But that, like, GME and AMC are not investments. Those are gambles. That is, hence the camp, if you understand, there's nothing fundamentally backing those companies. Awesome. Excellent. I'm glad we agree. Whereas Tesla has a big backing, big following, a lot of people. And here's how a stock is adjusted: it's perception. If people use the product and people buy the product and people believe in the stock, they'll buy the stock. Plain and simple. Same with cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin to the moon. Look, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'll tell you, Bitcoin will hit 100,000 within the next 2 years. There's a good chance it's going to hit it this year. But it may not be. If you don't have 100,000 to invest, not the right investment. Hence the camp, if you're recognizing this. Excellent. So what is the right investment if you're under 100,000? It's your net worth tracker. It really is your net worth tracker. I'm going to share a screen. Hence the camp, if you'd like me to show you how we do the net worth tracker for somebody who's at an average net worth of around 40,000. Excellent. And believe it or not, your net worth may be higher than you think. And I'll probably go into a business owner at some point too. I'll adjust this to be a business owner's net worth tracker. All right, so let me share the screen. Let me know when you can see it. Throw the hands to the air if you can see my screen. Excellent. Awesome. Let me make this shape a little different. So
Pretty easy.
What is it, Mike?
I said it looks pretty simple.
Yo, it's straightforward. Just wait till we start dropping things in. Average American does not own real estate. Mistake number one. Mistake number one for the average American. They don't own any real estate. And they think they're winning because they don't have a mortgage. Loser on that side too, because dollars go down in value over time. The dollar does not go the opposite way. It goes down in value as they print more. And so debt is good when it's backed by an asset. So we're already losing, already behind. But guess what? They do have a car. And the average American owes still 3 years on that car. And the average car is worth, we'll say, 15,000. But they still owe another 3 years on. So we'll say that loan's $7,000. You know, I'll be generous. Shit, I'll give them a $6,000 loan. They negotiated well. Let's give the average American a round of applause for negotiating that vehicle down. Excellent. Jewelry. Some people have jewelry worth money. We'll say maybe they have $1,000 worth of jewelry. Hands to the camp if you know people who got about $1,000 worth of jewelry. You think it's possible the average person has it? Yep. Just in their wedding rings alone. We're good. Artwork. Average American has 0. NFTs. Average American has 0 artwork and NFTs. Hands to the camp if you got an NFT or artwork worth anything. So 1, 2, 3, 4 out of nearly 80 people. So average American doesn't have artwork. Fair to say? Hands to the camp, we agree? Excellent. Electronics. This is what they got a bunch of. Unfortunately, that shit's worth nothing. So there are electronics in their house. If you think about the stuff in your house and you had to go sell it all, maybe you'll get $1,000, maybe you get $1,200. And I'll tell you what, Ron and I got $2,000 out of a house we cleaned out once. We took all the video games and we sold those video games and laptops. So we'll give you $2,000 for your stuff. Antiques, grandma sent you a couch, you know, mom left you a chair or one of those big box TVs. I'll give you $1,000, but I don't even think you have that. Honestly, you moved too many times. You got rid of that shit early on. Hence the camp, if you recognize, average people got rid of that stuff. Yep. They don't hold the valuable things. They hold the garbage, the plastic. Excellent. Other? No, that's just a joke. There is no other. Let's see. Checking account. Average American has less than $1,000 in their checking account. Average American has less than $5,000 in their savings. Hands to the camera if you know that's true. If that sounds about right. Yep. Excellent. Money market account. They can't even afford those. Don't know what they are. CDs. They looked at the interest rate, said, nope, not doing that. I had CDs at the age of 18 because I was a crazy little money squirrel, but they also paid 6% interest back then. And it was very exciting to me because I didn't have any other plays. Do they have life insurance? Mike, let's see. Ryan McDermott, do they have life insurance? The average American?
The average American does have life insurance, but the average American usually has term insurance, which holds no cash value. Very small percentage of Americans have permanent insurance that holds a cash value.
So they're getting the goose egg on that one too then?
Yep.
Damn, Ryan, this is sad. This is a tough life, a tough world out there. Like, no wonder it's so difficult, right? We haven't even added the liabilities. And by the way, you should do this at your house. You can go to gualtermillo.com/net worth calculator, and you can do this right on the website. You can put in your own information. By the way, it creates a great graph up here, which I love. This graph gets me excited. So other investments, Ryan, I'm going to rely on you a lot on this one. What is the average American got in their IRA? Not your clients, but the average American. What do they got in their 401k IRA?
It's different stats on that, but I think the last one I read was somewhere in the 50 to 60,000 range.
Nice. Well, they were doing them better than I was. So we'll give them 55,000 in their IRA 401k. This is obviously getting to older people, right? The older Americans. Hands to the camera if you're under 30 and you definitely don't have that in your 401k. Yeah. Or remember when you were under 30, you didn't have that one in your 401k? Yes. Excellent. All right. Bonds, they don't know what those are. Mutual funds, they've heard about them. They're scared of them. And if they're in them, they're in their 401k IRA. Individual stock shares, yeah, they bought one in Robinhood. They all bought GME this year, and then it went up and it went down. They sold it. They lost $2,000, and we'll say maybe they got $500 left, $500 left. Hands to the camera if you know that's true. A lot of people thought they were stock traders, and then realized that they just don't know what they're doing. Yep. Flip second position, expected to cash out in June. Yeah, they don't own rental property. They don't do flips, but they do have debt. They do have some debt. So debt is included in your net worth. It's the negative side. It's this little red thing. Home equity loan. Nope. Average American doesn't have a house. No loan. Car loan. Real estate loans. They don't have those. Student loans. They've got those. Ryan?
Yeah, I if I were going to throw a number in there, I'd say conservatively like 30,000.
Sounds about right. I know people way more than that.
Oh, yeah.
30,000 sounds.
That's a very conservative.
A good enough number. Terry Wager, you're a doctor. I'm sure that's a conservative number to you.
Very conservative.
Let's see. Other loans. We'll forget that most people owe somebody something. And then credit card debt. What is it, like $5,000?
I'd say 5.
All right.
You guys are nice.
Hands to the camera if this looks like you at some point in your life, if you can relate to this. Excellent. Excellent. Some of you are saying no. Good. Excellent. Give yourselves a round of applause. And for the ones who can relate to it, excellent. It's just a starting point. Here's what you can change. Who wants to know what you can change? Hands to the camera if you want to know what you can change. Opportunities on the net worth tracker. Excellent. 1, write this down. Buy a rental property. Buy a rental property. Right? Put something on the asset side here. Buy it for $300,000. Well, there's no zero before the 300. Buy it for $300,000. Owe $250 on it. Shit, I don't even care if you owe $260 on it. Owe $260 on it. Right? You got yourself a nice, we'll go $270. You got yourself a 10% discount. So you didn't even buy it at a great killer stealer deal, but you got yourself a nice 10% discount. Who knows if they could do that? It might be harder to do the 20% that we do, but you could definitely do a 10%. All right. You see the change in net worth is already happening. That's one, because this number will go down every year as your loan is paid off. Year 1, year 2, year 5, year 10 makes a massive difference. If you buy one of these every year, it's the compounding effect. Hands to the camp, if you recognize the compounding effect, it gets powerful in real estate. We can really leverage it. Excellent. Then the other one, you could learn how to invest in stocks and shares eventually. You could start a business, which by the way is not on here. And so I have to apologize for not having that on here. And I don't have cryptocurrency on here either.
Can't believe you.
But my second investment would be other, I guess I'd call it other, it would be your business.
Yeah.
And your business, who owns a business? Hands to the camp if you own a business. Excellent, excellent. My people, my community, I love this. So each and every one of you owns a business. The secret to building wealth is build your business to the point of sale. It's one of the wealth principles. Build your business to the point of sale. So I was talking to a landscaper today. I was talking to Jared, and Jared has his landscaping business, and he owns 50,000 in equipment. No debt on the equipment. 50,000 with no debt. So immediately I was like, okay, $50,000 business. Excellent. And I asked, what did you claim for profit? Not what you took home, what you claim for profit for the business. Another 20,000. So I was like, okay, so multiply it by 3, because your business is worth what you can sell it for 3 times in that industry. In other industries, it can be 5, in other industries, it can be 7. But in the landscaping industry, in the restaurant business, it's like 2.7, 3%, 3 times. So that became 111. Just from building a business that brings in an income. See what it does to the net worth tracker. Hence the camera, if that makes sense. By buying real estate and building a business, boom, you can have explosions. Now with the higher net worth that the business is throwing off, the business is throwing more cash. The real estate typically in your first few years doesn't make a lot of money. I'll be the only guru who tells you this. I'll be the only real estate investor who's honest with you. Real estate investors, landlords, how good was year 1? Did we lose money in year 1 or broke even on year 1? Where my landlords at? Yeah. Not enough people talk about the real life of real estate. The first few years kind of suck. The first few years is not a lot of reward. You get 3 feet from gold, you sell the house to somebody like us at a discount, and we buy it and we make the money because we're willing to wait the 3 years. Once the debt is paid off, though, 15 years from now, once the debt's paid off, rents have gone through the moon, and the dollar just kept going down. So you're able to close and pay down more because the rents were going up. Of course, it turns out really amazing for us. And we seem like geniuses, but we were able to stick it out for 15 years. Hands to the camp if you know you're willing to stick it out for 15 years to look like a genius. Yeah. In that time, you need a flow of income. You need a flow of income to supplement and support the fact that the real estate doesn't make a killing. You can't buy 6 houses year 1 and retire. It doesn't work that way. That's the dream I was sold. Who was sold that dream? Who was told if you buy enough real estate, as soon as you get enough, you can just retire because they cash flow. It's not true. It's just not true. Show me anybody's like nobody ever that I have ever met made significant money on a deal they closed in year 1. I've never seen it. Never. And man, me and Ron buy deals better than you'll ever buy. Like we have bought $100,000 units for $35,000 and still broke even on year 1. All right, Mike Shine, go ahead.
Actually, the only exception is you and Ron in buying the condos. That was
That's right.
year 1. You crushed it. So sorry.
But who's doing that? Who's getting a 70% discount on their units? Who do you know who's getting a 70% discount on their units? And even those condos, they broke even, right? Broke even year 1 because we had 12% interest on it. It was the only way to buy it. So even in that scenario, we broke even. Now, had we been in 5%, it would have been a totally different situation. But here's the deal. We wouldn't have gotten it at that discount. Does that make sense? There's no way we would have gotten it at the discount if anybody could have financed it. 7 other banks failed financing that property before we came in. with hard money, with a big risk, Ron, do you sleep better at night now that that's refinanced?
Oh yeah, much better. That's a big pain
I
in the
was
butt.
I was asked yesterday by Saeed in my coaching. He said, "Walter, do you ever stress?" Like, he's like, "You seem like you're always so confident, always so positive." And he was having a moment where he was like feeling a little stressed, right? He had some things going on, and I told him, I was like, "Saeed, yeah, of course I do, right? I'm a human being, just like you, just like everybody else. Of course, I feel and experience stress and have those anxiety moments. But here's what I found: that none of it's real." None of it's real. The emotions, the pain, the anxiety, if I can just stay in that thought for a moment, if I can just analyze that thought for a moment and pull myself over to a different thought that's more empowering to me. And I found, and you can write this down on your wealth journey to 100,000, your first 100,000, your first million. I found that no matter how bad it gets, if I can just find out what the other option would be, I now have something to work towards. I now have something to move towards. I now have a goal. And once I have a goal, I don't look at anything else, because nothing else is going to help me move forward. Even if in Saeed's situation, like, he has a closing that I know it's not going to happen this Monday, and he knows it's not going to happen this Monday, but he's like, it's supposed to happen this Monday. And I told him, I was like, Saeed, but what if it doesn't? What are you going to do? He's like, well, fortunately, I've raised a bunch of capital. I'm going to go buy another deal. And I said, why don't you just start that now? Just start thinking, it's not going to close Monday. I'm going to go raise capital and do another deal. And if it does close Monday, I'll be fucking surprised and ecstatic and happy. And that's how you can deal with anxiety. I know Dr. Terry Wager is going to give us some advice on this. It's his forte, how to deal with emotions and anxiety and stuff. But I guarantee you, no matter how hard this goal looks, no matter how annoying or anxious you get around doing your net worth tracker, around looking at money, I promise you, it's a lot easier than you think. And I made a really cool graph here that has colors on it. And it's a lot more fun than you think. I used to find peace in the numbers. When everything was falling apart around me, when I was first starting, when I was, living in my office, when everything was falling apart, I'd go and I'd get my notebook and I'd just write down what I owned. Write it all down. I'd go down to, if I had to sell my clothes, if I had to sell my bed, my buildings, if I had, like, I write it all down. What is the worth? What is the value of it? And I'd look at that number, I'd be like, damn, like, okay, it's better than it was. What else can I acquire? And then I'd write down all my streams of income, which were very small some days. And I'd say, what's the one that did the best for me? How could I pump that thing back up? How could I go pump some life back into that stream of income? And the numbers would give me peace and direction. And I wasn't working on everything. I was just working on the things that worked. Answer the camera if you believe you could do this. Excellent. Before I bring the coaches on, I want to bring Mike Shine on for the book of the week. Let's give Mike a round of applause. The book of the week, Mike.
All right. So the book of the week is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind by T. Harv Eker. This is one of the foundational 5. Makes me a little nervous because I know half of you have already read it. But I haven't talked to Walter about this, but from talking to him about this book, I feel like this is the most impactful book for your coach, Walter. He talks about it all the time, the sentiments in it, the concepts. He hasn't specifically said that, but every time I talk about this book, he gets amped up. So if that's just a great reason to read it right away. What I loved about this book is that he goes through these 17 wealth files. He says that we have thoughts in our head that are limiting when it comes to wealth. And if you change those files out and you have these files, or they're kind of like affirmations, although he uses a different word, but he goes through all 17, the difference between the way rich people think and poor people think. And he also is very careful to say, he doesn't say that poor people, they're no better nor worse than rich people, but they just have a different way of thinking. And so it's really valuable. I bought it on Audible, listened to it again. I plan on taking the wealth files and writing them in my journal, and I'm going to read them every day, because get those hammered into your head, and the sky's the limit. So that is Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's an amazing book.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. And Mike, you're absolutely right. If there were two books that have had the biggest impact on my life, it's Science of Getting Rich and Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Those two books are books that I've read every day for weeks at a time, both of them. I didn't know about Science of Getting Rich when I started, and so Secrets of the Millionaire Mind was my book. I would read it at first, like he suggested, once a month, and then I started reading it once a week. And then when times got so tough for me, when things got so tight, so bad, I demanded for myself I'd read it every day. And I read it every day until I pull out of those situations. I get that commitment so that I could understand the principles. I'd get back into motivation. I'd listen to T. Harv telling me, you have a millionaire mind, right? Like boom, like, yes, I do this. Successful people do this. Successful people do this. Broke people do that. And I'd see a penny on the floor. I'd get excited about the penny. To this day, I cannot let it go. I'll be in other people's house. I'm like, bro, you got a penny on the floor. You want me to get that for you? It's not mine, but I'll go get it. I'll bring it to you, right? And some people, by the way, don't see the value in that money, and it kills me. And they're like, well, you can keep it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Yes, sir. I increased income on a call, on a conversation. So if this was valuable to you, raise your hand to the camera if this was a valuable lesson. Net worth tracker. Look, it can be a boring topic or it can be a fun topic. It's your choice. It's your life. You can work hard the rest of your life, or you can jump the fast track. You can move faster. If you do not have $100,000, I'm going to suggest blatantly, obviously promote my mentorship program. I'm going to push hard. I'm going to say, go and do it. Take action. Do something for yourself that will move you forward. Because if you haven't done it yet, if you haven't gone through the program yet, if you haven't built the 100,000 yet, if you haven't become a millionaire yet, you aren't figuring it out on your own. Hands to the camera if that makes sense. Like, if you haven't figured it out, you're not going to figure it out. And you could, I did, but I spent $85,000 in coaching programs. I spent another $10,000 to $15,000 in traveling across the country to find the people that I was looking to talk to. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in real estate that didn't work out, on deals that didn't go the way I wanted them to go. I spent millions on real estate to finally figure out how to do it. Hands to the camera if you know there's a process. There is a system and a process to building wealth. There's a system and a process. There are people required to get you there. Coaches, mentors, masterminds. These are the assets, accountability partners. These are the assets that will take you to the next level. The reason I sell the mentorship unashamedly is because it's freaking worth it. It's worth far more than I charge. I just charge to weed out the people who aren't serious, the people who don't take themselves seriously. That's it. It's $1,200 for 8 weeks of us beating your mind up so that it comes out right. Showing you love the only way we know how. Because giving you the million wouldn't make you a millionaire. You'd lose it. It'd be gone. But teaching you how to build a million, teaching you how to get your first 100,000, that will actually deliver not just for you, but for your family, for your community, for generations beyond, because you'll become a millionaire. It's not about getting a million. It's about becoming a millionaire. A millionaire builds businesses. A millionaire buys assets. A millionaire builds communities, builds teams, builds people, right? The most valuable business, the most valuable asset in my business are the people. I say that because I'm a millionaire. For you in your business, you might say you're the most valuable asset in your business, right? Because you're not a millionaire yet. But when you become a millionaire, you realize it's the community, it's the people, it's the team. That's what is the most valuable asset in your business. If I were not here, this would continue. I guarantee you, if I wasn't here, if I didn't show up on Saturday, somebody would. Hands to the camera, coaches, if you would run this for me. Guaranteed. Because the people are how you build your wealth. The people are how you build a business. The people are who help you get to where you're looking to go. The mentorship is filled with those people. The mentorship program is filled with those people who are looking to get there. Where are my alchemists at? Where are my graduates? Let's give them a round of applause. I appreciate each and every one of you. Seeing your success levels up our entire community. The better you do, the more opportunity you can bring to the table, the more partnerships that occur, the more money you make. It's crazy. It's nuts. It's insane. It's one idea, build 100 millionaires, but we're not stopping with 100. Once you're a millionaire, you're now committed to building 100 millionaires. You know what that does? Makes you a more millions, makes you a lot more millions. You become a multi-millionaire. When you surrounded yourself with 100 millionaires, let's say you're the average of your 5 closest friends. When you surround yourself with 100 millionaires, you can't help but become a decamillionaire. It's unstoppable unless you want to let your friends down. Because once you become a millionaire, you realize how much fun it is. You realize how much impact it is. And all you want to do is do more of it, right? More charity, more events, more, like, and the more events, charities are just marketing, right? All of it is just marketing. Everything we do is just marketing. You being you, with golf court tournaments, like the cigar shops, everything that you do once you make money is marketing for your business, and it brings more money. You can't stop it. Hands to the camp if you want to be in that position. If you know it's a good place to be. Give yourselves a round of applause. Darina, I'm going to ask you to drop your link so that if somebody is interested in the mentorship, they can call you. They can have a conversation with you. This is probably the most important conversation of your life if you have not earned the $1 million yet. If you are already a millionaire, you may do it just for fun. I'll be honest. I know I would. I know some of the people in the mentorship came in just to see what it is, just to see how we do it, see what we're doing so that they can improve themselves. But if you are not a millionaire, if you haven't earned that first 100,000, this is the time. Take action, take yourself seriously. And by the way, pay Darina a commission. She deserves it. When you use her link and you go through her, she gets a little cut. So if you like that beautiful Russian princess and you think she's working hard and she deserves all that extra cash, let's give her a round of applause. She takes a lot off my plate and I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Was this valuable today? Yo, we're just getting started. We're about to bring the coaches out. Coaches. We'll start with, I saw Dr. Terry when I was going into emotions. He was like, I got something. I got something. Dr. Terry Wager, what would you say is your biggest piece of advice for people who are looking to build their net worth?
You know, we are in the real estate investing game in this community, and the biggest piece of real estate, the most valuable piece of real estate is right here. And if you're not paying to grow that intellect, to grow that knowledge, to grow your mindset, to grow your emotion set, to take the right action set, you're in the wrong area. You got to start investing in yourself so that you can make the investments that grow your wealth, that grow your business. It's one thing that Walter and I, Doug, all of us have done over and over is spend money on this real estate right here to make our outside world reflect our inside world. And one of the things T. Harv Eker talks about is the results is what you want to be looking at. And so look at your life. What's in your life? If you have the $1 million, if you have the real estate, if you have all of that stuff, you've probably invested enough in yourself. But if you don't have that, if you're still scraping along trying to figure it out, start investing here. We'll help you invest out there. That's what I got.
Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. And by the way, I've got to acknowledge, I see half of the Shine family is on here. So Mike's got his daughter, his wife. Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. He shares abundance with his whole family. And they're all amazing. I've gotten to have dinner and lunch and hung out with them. Who here has had a conversation? One of the coaches had a conversation with Mike Shine, knows how awesome he is. Yes, caring, amazing. He's the king of partnerships. Mike Shine, you're up.
Hey, want to give a shout out to Debbie Roulier. Also, that's Brenda's sister on here. Hey, Debbie.
Hey, Debbie. Good to
Hey,
see
Debbie.
you.
I
I also met her in person.
Millionaire in training. Millionaire in training. So the net worth tracker for me was pure magic. I can't explain how this simple task just exploded my income, my net worth. It's magic. I should do it more, but I do it once a month. And it just by doing the network tracker has made everything increase. You get a sense of what you can cut out, where you earn better, where to focus, because where your focus goes, your energy flows. And yeah,
Results
so
shows.
I'm a big advocate of doing the network tracker, and just, I don't know, once you first set it up, it maybe takes 10 minutes to do it every month at the most, or every week. And it's magic. It really, I can't describe it. You have to just do it and you'll see what I'm saying. And then you'll come back, oh, Mike, it really is magic. So do the network tracker. Thank you.
Let's give Mike Shine a round of applause. And I just recognized there are so many people wearing the shirts. Let's throw those shirts up. If you got one of the brand on, Rocky, I got to get a picture. Hell yeah. Big smile. Yep. Awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. When you wear one of these shirts, it represents something important about you. You understand the way to build wealth is names on deeds, right? You understand the point is not to work, it's to generate income, or you're reminding yourself you're here to build 100 millionaires, and you're a part of that movement, those people who are becoming millionaires. So let's give everybody a round of applause. I appreciate each and every one of you showing support, and more importantly, reminding yourself these are physical affirmations for you. These are things that will remind you to be successful when other things don't remind you. The bracelet, that's not even on me right now, but I put my bracelet on this morning. I took it off for the shower. So, but it reminds me, I am an alchemist. Every day I look at it. Every day I look at the black beads, I know balance. The tiger's eye, I know focus. And I keep those two always as a remind me to balance and stay focused. Balance and stay focused. And then I wear the jade as a reminder to be loving and open, right? Loving, open, and abundant. And so whatever you have to do in your life to surround yourself with reminders, do it. Does that make sense? All right, let's give Dr. Terry Wager and Mike Shine a round of applause because they delivered some phenomenal advice. I saw Sam in the chat saying, yes, invest in yourself. It makes a lot of sense. Ryan McDermott, because I don't ever know if you got a soccer game to go to.
I always have a soccer game to go to, but I love this group. Mike talked about the network tracker. I kind of addressed a little bit earlier. I want to talk a little bit about the book. When I joined the mentorship program, this was the one book in the program that I had actually never read. And, it outlines, just a real 30,000 foot, it outlines how to identify and revise your money blueprint, to significantly increase your income and accumulate wealth. To me, I've been in business for about 17 years, and probably the first half of that, the idea of a money blueprint, your mindset around money, I would have thought was complete crap, to be completely honest with you. I would have thought of it as a bunch of mental mumbo jumbo. And, to me, it was at a point in my life where I was stubborn. And because, mainly because I was operating with this, with a scarce mind. And, I didn't even realize it until personally I got to a breaking point, and I had no choice but to stop being stubborn, start asking for help, then advice, bringing on business partners, thinking about expansion rather than surviving, thinking bigger. But I couldn't do that until I addressed that money blueprint. We all have one. It's all going to be a little bit unique to us. My advice, read the book, join the mentorship, stay in this community. You'll be able to think bigger, accomplish goals you can't even imagine today. Or at least that's been my experience. Thanks.
Let's give Ryan McDermott a round of applause. By the way, Ryan is becoming a better and better speaker every time I hear him. I am absolutely impressed. Doug, I don't know what you're doing to him, but it's working. So speaking of Doug, you're up. What is your advice on this tracker?
Well,
building net worth.
Yeah. First of all, everyone, you're in the right place. This community is phenomenal. It is so true. The people you spend the most time with, you just naturally pick up their mindset. We don't even realize it because it's other than consciously programming us. But when Terry shared about the most valuable real estate you have is up here, couldn't be more true. That is the most important investment. And to say that, you'll invest in yourself after you start making money is like saying, I'll start, reinvesting my dividends and my profits on my rental properties, but I haven't bought one yet. So you've got to make that investment. But it does remind me, I'll just be quick on this story. There's a parable from the Bible, and I'm not a preacher. I just want to share this quick parable. And if you want to look it up, it's Matthew 25:14
Preach it.
to 30. I had to look up because I wanted to give credit to the actual parable. But in short, essentially, this master, is Jesus shared this. This master had 3 of his servants, and he was going away for a while, and he took 3 of them, and he gave 5 talents, which was, it's kind of a double entendre, but at the time it was about the value of 20 years' wages. He gave 5 talents to one, he gave 2 talents to another servant, and then gave 1 talent to the last. He came back after many years, and the person who had the 5 talents immediately invested it and doubled his talents, doubled his money. He invested his talent. So then the second one invested the 2 talents and got back 2 talents, basically doubled their money. The third one freaked out, like Ryan was sharing, was in scarcity mode and buried the talent to keep it safe. Many years later, the master comes back and he wants to see what happened. The first talent, the guy comes back and says, "Master, you gave me 5 talents and I invested those talents and I have 5 talents." And he's like, "You are a brilliant servant. To you, much abundance will be granted." Second one, same thing. He said, "Master, I only had these 2 talents, but I invested them and I doubled the money and I've got 2 more talents." And he's like, "Oh, you are a blessed servant. You will be living in abundance and joy." The third one comes back and says, "Master, I only had 1 talent. I had to keep it safe. I had to make sure I didn't do anything with it. I buried it. And here's your 1 talent back." And he came back and said, "You suck," essentially. He was like, "You are a horrible, horrible servant. You were like, that is the worst thing ever. You are now going to live in destitution for the rest of your days." Now that I'm paraphrasing, but point being is, if we do not invest, if we do not take our talents and share them and find ways to add even more value to create more abundance for ourselves and others, we will live in that scarcity mindset, that pain, that suffering, and we will be useless to everybody. So misery loves company, so does success. Stay in this successful community and be around the people who are investing their talents, and invest your talent. That's all I got.
Doug McGurk, let's give him a round of applause. Doug is the master of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Hands to the camera if you've learned something from the coaches so far. This little section at the end is a lot of fun, right? I love listening to their opinions as well. Mitch Jorsky, you're up.
I'm sorry. I was distracted. What happened? I'm drinking my coffee.
Mitch, what does that coffee cup say?
I don't know. It was a gift from Mike Shine. So, what Doug said, if you don't plant seeds, shit ain't gonna grow. That's my very what's the word I'm looking for? Evolved New York version of it.
Let's give Mitch a round of applause, and I'll attest that Mitch is phenomenal in the investments that he has. Mitch has become the crypto king for us, even though he's got his rental property calculator on the website. He's become the crypto king, and it doesn't come from he just started crypto this year. Mitch has been doing crypto for years, half a decade, right, Mitch? Or more than that?
Yeah, I guess technically it's half a decade now. Yeah, early 2016.
Half a decade. So all of his crypto he earned, like he figured out ways to earn it here and there, and then multiplied it and grew it just like the good servant. He kept, expanding it and growing it and growing it. And over time, now that it's well over 100,000, isn't it? The crypto portfolio.
I nor confirm or deny the amount of crypto I have.
Yeah, it's a decent amount. Let's give Mitch a round of applause.
Real estate acts in the same way. It's called compounding. You acquire properties, you build equity, then you use those properties as leverage to get bigger properties, and then you end up 1031 and so on and so forth. So it goes back to, if you don't plant the seed, shit ain't gonna grow. So it really doesn't matter whether you're talking about crypto, real estate, stocks, whatever,
Business.
anything. Build the snowball. And You know, the net worth tracker helps with that because it creates momentum. You don't even realize it. And I just speaking from experience, because I started doing the net worth tracker years ago and I was like, huh, this is interesting. Like now there's like this energy to push forward, so to speak, that I don't even realize it's there, but it's there. And now I'm watching my net worth grow. That's crazy how that works. So to do my best Ron Bowling impersonation when it comes to the net worth tracker, you should do it.
Let's give Mitch a round of applause. Speaking of Ron, not a coach bowling. Ron, what's your best advice on a net worth tracker?
You should do it.
You should do it.
Well, I know you did all the research for us. What was the program that you leveraged so we can track South Coast Capital's net worth?
We use mint.com
use
and
Mint.
Julie Bradley.
And Julie Bradley. Let's give our bookkeeper, Julie Bradley, a round of applause. She's on the call. She's through the mentorship. She is abundant. And if you want a bookkeeper who will go above and beyond for you and build something really worth having, if you want to build a $10 million company, I can't promise that she's the bookkeeper that will help you get there. But if you don't have her, it might be hard to get there. Let's give Julia Bradley a round of applause. Let's see who else. I'm now looking for the beautiful ladies. Darina Pagodina, if I can get you to say something.
Yes, thank you. I might say I had no idea about net worth tracking up until a year ago, and it was mind blowing. And actually, this book, I read it probably 5 times, and it was one of the first books I read on money blueprints, and it blew my mind. And it helps you to separate your accounts first of all, so then you can accurately count what you have and plug it into your net worth tracker. So this is almost like a foundation to your net worth tracking understanding. And it will take a little bit of time, maybe 30 minutes to set it up, but then you're going to keep growing because you're going to keep focusing on it. And it's the best evaluation, one-on-one session with yourself and your computer. Do it. It works. And if you get stuck, go back to this book. It helps you to separate what's your play account, what's your education account, what's the asset, what's the investment, what's is your car liability or is it an asset? Depends how you use it, right? So I'm just impressed with this community and how we keep pushing what's right. And everybody's heard that saying, your net worth is your network. I wish we had a column on the net worth tracker, how many people we know and how much value we add to our net worth tracker by people we know here, because we would all be billionaires by now.
I like that idea. A network tracker that we could track our community, our friends' net worth and say, okay, like,
I'm a billionaire.
How am I
then.
doing?
If we can do that, awesome.
Right? How are you doing? I would absolutely challenge you to count how many millionaires you have in your cell phone this week. We didn't do a challenge. We didn't do an experience. So this is my experience for you. One, obviously do the net worth tracker, but 2, track how many people you have in your network that have a net worth of $1 million. And here's what you're going to have to do to find out. Ask them. Reach out and ask them. Hey, you're just on the same level as me now. I'm calling all my friends up and being like, hey, you accredited investor? Hey, do you have a net worth of $1 million, income of $250,000 a year? Because if you do, you might be able to invest. If you don't, how close are you? How soon can we get you there? So at some point, you're going to have to make the calls I'm making. Start now. Why not? It'll speed up your process. Start now. Find out how many accredited investors you have in your life. And guess what I'm going to suggest next? Spend more time with them. Spend more time with them. And then add to your collection of them. Spend more time with them, add to your collection of them, and maybe do something fun with them. Maybe build something with them, maybe bring them an opportunity if you know it's the right thing for them. If it's not, find it. Go find the right opportunity for them. That's what a value add person does. Hands to camp, if you know you add value to other people's lives, thank God you exist. Thank God you exist, because if it wasn't for you, the world would be a different place. There's people's lives that you touch. There's people's lives that you have an impact on. There are people who are so thankful. They don't know it yet, but they're so thankful for who you're becoming. There are people out there that you have not met, or people that you do know who are seeing a change in you, or haven't seen the change yet, but the change is coming. They're seeing opportunities that you're going to create for them. It's coming. You're building, you're adjusting, you're building something amazing. And what it's going to do for other people is change their lives. It's going to add value. It's going to improve their lives. Don't build something mediocre. Build something worth talking about. Build something worth sharing. Build something worth selling. Have a business that inspires you to go and let other people know about it. Hands to the camp, that's the business I've built for myself. And that's what I want to see you build for yourself. I'm excited, right? When Saturday comes, I'm like, oh, what am I going to talk about today? What do I get to teach? What do I get to deliver on? Patrick Sullivan, let's get your opinion. Let's get your feedback on the net worth tracking and net worth.
So I had something all set up, and then you said a couple other things. And every time this happens, you make me think of other little interjections that I want to add on to something you started saying. You always mess up my words, man. But I actually literally, I do it almost daily. First thing I do literally within 5 minutes of waking up every morning is I look at some stocks. I look at Bitcoin. I maybe or maybe not cry, depending on what happened while I was sleeping. It depends. And I look at mint.com every single morning, literally within 5 minutes of being awake. For two reasons. One, I'm just kind of obsessed with wanting to see it. And the other one is that I'm just always terrified something's going to happen and like my money's going to vaporize and somebody's going to hack me, even though my security stuff's all turned to 11, but still I'm just constantly in fear of it. So, but and then probably like once a week, I like really go in there, update things, really change stuff, keep things up. But for the most part, I literally look at it almost every day. And the thing that you added on that I had to think about is we said giving someone $1 million doesn't make them a millionaire. And for a lot of people don't really think that's true. They think like, oh, if I get $1 million, it'd be great. I have $1 million. Go look up what happens to like 95% of people that win Powerball, or like how many like $10 million a year sports players there were and where they are 10 years after retiring. The amount of football players that live in their parents' house 10 years after they retired is astonishing. Like people that made $100 million literally live in their parents' basements. And a lot of them are actually in more debt than before they started, which it blows my mind that someone could give you $50 million and somehow you end up worse off than before you got the check with nothing to show for it and just miserable, like suicide rates are literally higher for Powerball winners than normal people because it causes them so much issue. So it's definitely something you have to learn. And like Walter, like I grew up with no money. I didn't know anything. My parents never taught me nothing about anything with like, I don't even know what a bond or a mutual fund was, until I was well into an adult.
And Patrick, let me add to that real quickly. That's so true. I was actually working with a basketball player who wanted to educate sports people like who are in those programs because he saw that. And it's also addiction is a big problem. And you know what he found? Guess whose advice those people were taking, those sports people?
Their own bad advice?
Their own bad advice, and their own parents broke bad advice. So they would get all this money. Their parents would come in and be like, oh, no, we got to, so they're basically listening to a broke person's advice on what to do with $100 million. And yeah, so they didn't have Terry's book, but yeah, I just thought I'd share that, Patrick, because that's so true, and that's the key. They're not surrounding themselves with a community like this who have the brilliance and the experience to help them.
Yeah,
that goes right back to this book.
100%.
Everything you need to know is 90% is mindset, and 10% we can teach you the steps. This book just speaks directly to that.
And I even had a friend that got $100,000 and some odd for an insurance settlement once. And literally 3 months later, he had nothing. You know what he did the day after he got the check? He quit his job. And he wasn't like a day trader. He wasn't like making a fortune. He had nothing in the bank. He was a mechanic at like Meineke, and he literally quit his job and he was going to be a rap producer. 3 months later, he was begging for his job back and he didn't have literally $1 left. He blew the whole $100,000, and then he ended up selling most of the crap he bought because he was so in debt from buying all the other crap.
That I believe. Let's give Patrick Sullivan and the coaches a round of applause. Dr. Terry Wager, we have Christine McGinley near you.
She is working on our project for the next few weeks, so she is indisposed.
Well, then you tell her we asked for her advice. She can send it in the chat later on and give it to us in Facebook Live.
I shall.
For everybody who is in the mastermind, well, I guess for everybody who's not in the mastermind, it is $5,000. Jump in if you want to take yourself to the next level. If $5,000 scares you, man, you should probably jump into the mentorship. And if $1,200 scares you, there's nothing I can do for you. You're just a scared person who doesn't believe in themselves, and you probably need to work on that first. Hands to the camera if you understand that if $1,200 scares you, you got bigger problems. Yes.
I'd say if it scares you, you better do it anyway. Jump into Walter's mentorship, jump into my coaching program, because we remove the fear and get you on the bullet train of action. Let's do this.
Hell yeah. Let's give Dr. Terry Wager a round of applause. It's the truth. If $1,200 scares you today, it's always going to scare you until you finally say, you know what, I'm just going to go in with the right coaches, the right mentors who are built to take you to the next level. This is my commitment to you over the next year. I will keep growing my net worth. I will keep growing my network. I will keep improving the lives of my coaches, my students. Mike Sean, I see your hand up.
I think at this point, you might want to mention how much you and Terry have spent on coaching and how terrifying that might have been, because if people are balking at 1,200, you have something to add there. Yeah.
I need a net coaching tracker.
Yours is getting ridiculous at this point, Terry.
But it's not getting ridiculous because we're getting the results from it. And one of the things that is really important to think about, and Grant Cardone says this, everything he spends on coaching, everything he spends on learning and developing himself, even if he had the book and put it on the bookshelf and never did anything other than look at the title of it, it's a good investment. And I think to this date, Christine and I have probably spent around $300,000 in coaching in the last 3 years, and it's paying off. We learn from our coaches how to make you guys get successful, get rich, build the net worth, build this mind here, build your network. And, everything that we spend, we receive back, and then we put it back into our business.
And Terry, were you comfortable taking that step at first?
No.
At first, he's still not comfortable doing it.
No, you know what? The funny thing is the first one was really difficult. And then it's like, now we're like, yeah, we're in. How much? We were in our elite retreat, which is our private coaching with Suzanne and James. And we're in this elite retreat, and it's where they're re-upping people. And so I texted the coach, I'm like, how much do we have to do? And they're like, oh, you're not even up for 6 months. I was just ready to pay again.
There is a point where you recognize where the money is going is in the right place, and you just keep reinvesting in those places. Once it makes sense, you keep piling it in until you get to where you're at. If I'll say this, if you haven't committed yet, or if you have committed, you haven't earned your 100,000 yet, I'm going to ask you to take on the challenge of listening to Secrets of the Millionaire Mind every single week until successful. It's only 2 to 3 hours, depending on the speed you listen to it. But listen to Secrets of the Millionaire Mind every single week until successful, until you're a millionaire. Just commit to it. Just say, look, I haven't earned the ability to not listen to this week, and so I'm going to listen to this week until I've earned the ability not to. Hands at the camp if you recognize this would change your life. Yes. And if you want to get crazy, do what I did. When times get tough, listen to it every day. Listen to it every day. Grind. Just grind it out. Just listen to it. You got nothing better in there anyway. The stuff you got up there that you're thinking about, it's not helping. It's not moving you forward. So reprogram this thing. Get it to the right level. Surround yourself with the coaches. Take action. Jump into the right programs. The mentorship is right for you. I know it is. I built it. right? I'm biased. I built a great program with a great team. Let's give the coaches a round of applause for hanging out with us as late as they do and adding so much value. And for the coaches who are hanging out with us in the mastermind, we appreciate you. Cheers to your success. When you have a choice, always work with the best. And if you're interested
Always
in the
work with the
mentorship,
best.
reach out to Darina.
The best.
Always work with the best.
The best.
The best. The best.
And reach out to Darina.
Darina.